A very real and present danger.
Shooting tonight have been taken
are liberating and retaking
Hospital.
towns from jihadists in the North Hama province with
The San Bernardino massacre.
A time when so many others try to divide us, to foment conflict, to take innocent life. ICRD does exactly the opposite. It draws people together, pursues peace, saves lives. While others see religion as part of the problem, you've made religion part of the solution.
More often than not, making religion part of the solution equates to bridging differences between adversaries through commonly shared religious values. After spending a number of years studying and practicing the art of warfare as a military officer, I eventually came to think that if humankind is to have any hope of realizing its full potential, it will need to develop better ways to resolve its differences. Bombs and bullets certainly have their place, but more often than not, they end up spawning more terrorists as the cycle of revenge takes hold. The International Center for Religion and Diplomacy is a nonprofit organization that bridges religious considerations and the practice of international politics in support of peacemaking. In other words, we address identity-based conflicts that exceed the grasp of traditional diplomacy. And by identity-based conflicts, I mean ethnic disputes, tribal warfare, religious hostilities, and the like.
So whether it's in Kashmir, the Balkans, the Middle East, Iraq, Palestine, Israel, these conflicts all have a vitally important religious component to them.
In the last few years, ICRD's partnerships and the recognition of what we do that's important has started to go into the institutional framing in larger international organizations, which is to say the UN, but also the US government.
ICRD is a pioneering organization working in a pioneering field. And we're one of the only organizations that do what we do, how we do it. And we're one of very few organizations that has the breadth and depth of connections and networks both at government level and civil society and grassroots level.
Try to get local implementers, particularly we use implementers and experts that come from the faith traditions and if possible from the cultural traditions so that they have the authentic knowledge and legitimacy to discuss how the faith functions in people's lives.
ICRD, first and foremost, undertakes a very rigorous analysis of the local context in order to understand who is best positioned to be able to address those needs.
And get religious leaders to look to their highest calling, whatever their religion might be, and work together. And ICRD has seen that happen, seen it work.
Bringing together groups that don't normally interact with each other, such as when we brought together American and Pakistani religious and interfaith leaders.
I was a part of this seminar, the first seminar in Azad Kashmir. I feel a change in my personality after that because first time I came to know the importance of forgiveness, and as it has really broadened my mind, it has broadened my heart, and I feel myself a changed person.
Whenever we go into a new area, we try to determine what the most strategic approach is that we should take in order to address the problem at hand. In some instances, this equates to education, and that has certainly been the case in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. In Pakistan, for example, over close to a 10-year period, we've worked with more than 8,000 madrasa leaders and imams and expand the curriculums of their religious schools to include the physical and social sciences, but with a very strong emphasis on human rights and religious tolerance, and also to transform their pedagogy to create critical thinking skills among the students. In Saudi Arabia, we are working there to purge the inflammatory content that one finds in the textbooks and teacher training materials, the very content that's been inspiring extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I'm pleased to say we're making very encouraging headway.
An example of one of our programs where
faith is being integrated as part of the solution, but religion isn't really one of the drivers of the violence. Might be our Columbia program, where we're working with women faith actors to generate a reconciliation methodology to try to support the reintegration of former combatants into communities.
You don't hear a lot about them in the news or media, and there's a reason for that, because the work that they do is so highly sensitive, yet so impactful, that it's not easy to really tell people who you are and what you do, as most nonprofits can put on their website.
And ICRD is really the most important organization in Washington that focuses on the religious dimension of conflicts all over the world.
But we are not a religious organization ourselves. Rather, we're an organization that deals with religion. In so doing, we operate from an assumption that everyone on any given side in a conflict is not bad. And those who are bad aren't bad all the time. So we play to the angels of their higher nature. And as you might imagine, we end up engaging with some pretty nefarious characters.
The unfortunate thing from my standpoint is that it has never had the resources to do all that's possible around the world. And somehow or other, we have to find those resources, because it's no longer nice but not necessary. It's an absolutely critical issue for the well-being of the society as we know it.
You're truly doing God's work here. Let me just begin by thanking Doug for the unbelievable work that you and all your colleagues here at ICRD do. So on behalf of the President and on behalf of the American people, thank you for that work.
In closing, I would ask you to consider partnering with us beyond whatever contributions this work may make toward enhancing stability. It also serves to minimize the times in which we have to send our sons and daughters in harm's way. The stakes are exceedingly high, and we need your support.